Episode 4 of The Bad Batch breakdown isn't going to be as super extensive because there really wasn't all that much that happened in it until the very end. So, there was an R2 unit and a Run fruit, which we saw that fruit in Rebels, but whoop-de-doo, big deal. Not a big deal. The rundown for this episode, and we're going to get to the very end because there's actually a lot to talk about, is that Omega and Tech, this whole episode had a sort of Mando and Grogu arc, Kratos and Atreus, Joel and Ellie kind of dynamic, like a father and a daughter sort of thing. And they're essentially crash landing on this planet and they're going to try and get a transport and escape and do their own thing and kind of disappear a little bit. So what happens is they have to get some credits in order to take a transport. And the reason they have to take credits is because they need a chain code. If they give the chain code, they'll be found by the Empire, right? It'll come up in the system. So the lady says, all right, I'll take a bribe, 30,000 credits for both of you, so 15,000 each. So Omega goes and gambles, and she ends up winning. She's really good at gambling. She's really good at cards, sabacc, whatever they were playing, and she ends up winning. Then there's an Imperial that comes up to play against Omega, and while they're gambling together, while they're playing cards, he doesn't like Batcher, the hound that was taken from the previous episode that's now with Omega and Crosshair. So the officer says, hey, get him out of here. Crosshair gets him out of there. And at the end, Omega wins. She wins 20,000 credits from him. So then he says, hey, gambling's illegal here, so unless you want me to take you to jail with his stormtroopers, you better give me 10,000 credits. She does so. She goes outside. Batcher is gone. And the Imperials took the hound, took her dog. So she gets some answers out of the little fruit seller guy there, and he tells her that the Imperials took them that way. So she goes that way. Crosshair ends up following her. They all meet up at this place where all the animals are in kennels. And the Imperial tells her that, hey, we know that you escaped. Dr. Hemlock is going to be here shortly, and I want you to give me all the money that you won, as well as we're now going to arrest you. So then she tells Crosshair, okay, hey, why don't we go your way? And Crosshair's way, of course, is shooting everybody. So there's a shootout. They get the upper hand. The Imperial officer gets hentai'd, if you know what I mean. And there's a bit of a Jurassic Park sequence where, all the dodo birds kind of things are like running over the stormtroopers. And it was pretty cool. I like that callback, of course. And then they get in the transport with Batcher, the Hound, and the three of them get out of there. They go and meet Wrecker and Hunter. It's a beautiful, moving moment scene. There were a lot of you in the live stream that really appreciated it, and so did I. And then, of course, the tone completely changes. The music changes, and Crosshair walks outside, walks down the ramp of the ship, and they all come to face. So it's Crosshair looking at Omega, Hunter, and Wrecker, and its tensions are really high. I personally really like this episode. We don't know where it's going to go from here. Obviously, they're going to have to reconcile at some point, but I'm pretty sure that their next episode, episode 5, they're going to probably fight each other, either verbally or physically. Something's going to go down. And then eventually they'll probably make amends because they have to. So from here, I believe that they're going to then meet up with Rex and Echo. And they're going to try and maybe save Tech if they think he's alive, or try to get revenge him. But, this is the end of the Bad Batch. This is the last season. So what I think is going to happen is there's going to be some sort of huge collaboration with all of them. So Rex, Hunter, Echo, Crosshair, and Wrecker will be running away from the Empire, as bounty hunters are probably going to be called to find them, as well as, Omega. So I think Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, Cad Bane, and whoever else they want to put in there, maybe Dengar, that'd be pretty cool, are all going to be hunting down the Bad Batch. Now, this is going to be great. They're all coming together. They're all going to fight together, and they're all going to support each other. And I think with this story, we're going to probably see a lot of what Project Necromancer is. Now, personally, I think Project Necromancer is, of course, well, in the name, Palpatine resurrecting himself, Palpatine making a clone of himself. As we know, everything does tie into the sequel trilogy. However, I'm very hopeful that this season will ignore what the sequel trilogy does and try to create some sort of intermediary period before that. So what I mean by that is that Palpatine will try to clone himself, and we'll get some like Dark Empire sort of thing going on here instead of him creating Snoke right off the bat. I think what makes sense is a young Palpatine, which is originally what happened, but one that's force sensitive and effective. And from there, we're going to get a Palpatine that is extremely powerful, and he's going to try and transfer his essence into there to see if it's possible. Maybe something goes wrong. Maybe the Bad Batch end up destroying this vessel before Palpatine can actually use it or launch it. And it gets down to the wire where tensions are really high and someone ends up dying. Now, we could get the whole Bad Batch dying except for Omega, because let's be real. Or we could get, just a few. I think personally, Crosshair is going to live. I think his character arc is really good, and I think it would just be kind of expected if he dies now. However, that being said, we can see he's kind of coming full circle. He's like, okay, then he was kind of villainous, and then he's coming now back to being, part of the group. And he might do a sacrificial effort to maybe save his friends, save his brothers, and maybe save Omega. And this would really, kind of bring his character arc full circle, but then end him. What I think would happen is that his character arc will maybe come full circle once, I think, Wrecker probably sacrifices himself to see the good in him. Something that's extremely unprecedented, I don't think will happen, is Omega sacrifices herself for Crosshair. And this will change him completely. I don't see that happening. I don't think that they would kill her off. I think they're going to kill off probably all the clones, all the guys, and then she's going to have her own story going forwards somewhere else because she's pretty valuable, and that's most likely, predictably, what's going to happen going on from here. As for episode 5, well, the boys are probably going to fight. They're probably going to have a problem between each other. And then eventually Omega's probably going to try and split it up and be like, look, you guys are brothers. You need to work it out and do the whole Omega thing and, just be the peace between them all. So that's what I think personally is going to happen. I don't think it's going to be anything super crazy. I think probably as we progress, we're going to get more and more with Palpatine and Project Necromancer, which is, I'd say, my most interest in this whole season, to be honest, because I really want to know what he's up to, and the fact that they're incorporating him in the show is really piquing my interest. Now, as for the overall tone of the show, I think it's fantastic. I love the fact that it's got a dark, almost like a just depressing tone to it. It's very real and visceral. Whereas I think the last 2 seasons of The Bad Batch were cute and funny and happy and, quite Disney, quite animated Star Wars in a sense. Well, I can't even say that because, Clone Wars was pretty dark and bleak sometimes too. However, this one is very real and very dark and to the point, and I think that really echoes, no pun intended, the timeline of this story of the Empire. So I really want to see more of this. I love the fact that they're really catapulting the story. I didn't expect them at all to be coming face to face in this episode. It's like they're moving really fast. There's no time to spare anymore. There's no time for filler crap. And some people might say this episode was filler or whatever. Nah, I don't think so. I think there's a lot of good character development we saw for Crosshair. We saw him now having a soft spot for Omega. When she said, hey, here, take the credits. You can go on your own. I got to go save my dog. And he turns around to leave like he said he was going to and has a change of heart. And he's like, oh, you know what? I got to go help her. So he is still a good guy. It's still in him, much like Anakin is within Vader. All the time, he's just, callous. And I think there's a lot of good in him. It's just going to take some time to pull it out. And I think a big sacrificial effort like Wrecker or someone sacrificing themselves for him is what it's going to take for him to come full circle. Heck, maybe they're going to kill off everyone. Maybe they're going to kill off no one. I don't really know. But I just think this is the final end to the Bad Batch. I don't see them surviving, And if they do, cool, but like where are they going to go from here, right? So you can't have a bunch of like mutant, super powerful clones running around during the original trilogy and like not helping at all, right? It doesn't really make sense. So that's one thing that I really liked about the original trilogy was that literally there were just like, it was just Luke. There was the only hope in the galaxy. There was no Ahsoka. There was nobody else, right? That was it. It all rested upon one dude's shoulders. So, hey, we'll see going forwards. I'm much more invested now in the show after this episode, and we'll see what the boys say on Monday on Stargrift. But personally, I loved it, this one. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10 for the Bad Batch, and that goes within the Bad Batch, confines of what out of 10 means. So, yeah, what did you guys think of this episode? What would you rate it so far? Are you more invested now, or did you turn off halfway through because you thought it was filler? You got to wait till the end, man. Sometimes there's that payoff. And for me, I thought this was great. Nice and emotional. Big twist, big bang. They meet. Didn't think that would happen so quick. It was fun. It was good. I was entertained. And I love the dark tone, how fast it's going, which is a nice change for Disney Plus Star Wars stuff. great. Usually it just drags on. Have a great day. Thanks so much for watching this breakdown. I know it's a little unconventional, but I don't want to bore you guys with the, there was an egg here from freaking Rebels. I don't know, man. Whatever. Who cares? Whatever. Let's get to the meat and bones. You know what I'm saying? All right. Have a great day. May the force be with you. Love you all. Check out theorysabers.com, and I'll see you in the next one.